as an international public figure, I can attest that people are going to project onto me, and to you too, that being spiritual means you have to be perfect and impeccable, right? You're never allowed to make mistakes, right? Mistakes, which we're going to talk about that. Can you even make such a thing as a mistake? And the answer is yes and no. Like in all things spiritual, the truth behind what is truly spiritual is paradoxical to the mind. The mind always wants a hard answer, and it's got to be a hard yes or no. But it's not a gray area either. It's a deeper truth based on a spiritual wisdom. So being impeccable is not necessarily the goal, especially if you find yourself in a teaching position. And that might include you out there in YouTube land, right? I'm a spiritual teacher, but you could be too. Maybe there's people in your life that you help. Whether you know you are or not, it doesn't matter. You could be showing people through your daily actions a new way of life. You don't need to be so hard on yourself, right? So let's take me for example. I have to go back to my practices all the time, right? Sometimes I experience ups and downs, and I noticed, by the way, and this is why I've been talking about this lately, that often those ups and downs happen particularly the day after I engage in some activity that uses up a lot of dopamine, right? And I've been talking about this. I've been posting videos lately talking about shutting down the emotional roller coaster and habits that you can change in your daily life with your physical body that'll actually assist you in your ascension. So say I go out to eat and I'll have even a beer. Ooh, God forbid a spiritual teacher drinks one beer with their dinner and then has maybe a dessert after they eat their meal. And I don't even do that very often. As I explained in one of my previous videos, I follow a pretty strict regimen, which includes eating mostly salads, albeit really good ones. But twice a month, I'll give myself like a cheat day. I get like 2 meals out of the whole month where I can go ape shit and just eat whatever I want, right? Fried chicken, hamburger, it doesn't matter, But like the next day, I notice my energy is kind of low. And it's not anything like it used to be, where it was like a really deep, I don't know, like just dissatisfaction with how my day was going. Like it kind of not a bad mood, not really sad, but just kind of like, I don't feel like doing anything today, right? Maybe complacency is the word. But now, generally, even when I just have my one cheat day, it's like once every 2 weeks or something, the next day I'll notice my energy's a little bit low, but it's nothing like it used to be. And to guide myself through those times and those days, I go back to my spiritual practices, which I do every single day anyway, or I just won't push myself that day. I'll plan it out. I'll do it on a Saturday night. I'll go out like that, and then Sunday morning or Saturday night, I'll go out and have the meal, for example, and then Sunday, I'm just going to take it easy that day and read some books, and it's fine anyway. You know what I mean? I just kind of work with it. You learn to transcend. It's not that we're trying to make low energy days stop, and that's kind of what this video is about. If you battle duality, duality is going to win. I feel good, I feel bad, right? That's the mind, that's the ego, that's the personality. You got to get out of that, right? That's what I'm telling you. There's another way, right? Most people think, I feel bad. The way to fix that is to feel good. And Kurt, you're a spiritual teacher. So if you're telling me that you have bad days, then you're a charlatan. You can't be trusted, right? You've got this, maybe some people have this impression of me like, he's there, right? He reached the outcome. He can stop now, right? He doesn't need to do spiritual practices anymore. He doesn't need to work on himself. He doesn't need to deal with stuff from my past and reflect on things, maybe do some kind of like inner work, shadow work, these types of things. And that's something that I've been into lately, not because of my twin flame. Remember, that stuff's not going to help you with your twin flame, but it'll help you. And I highly recommend doing some of that stuff, right? I still do those things. And I have to work on myself every day, guys. Spiritual awakening is where you are. There's the forced awakening at the beginning, and in my case, it was my twin flame, right? But you should take that forward momentum that you have and intentionally push yourself forward. So a spiritual practice is where you take steps every day and you don't allow yourself to go back into old patterns and old habits. And if you see old patterns and old habits come up, you sit and in your meditation or in quiet reflection, you think about it, like get to the root cause of that, right? That's kind of the shadow work kind of thing, which is something you're going to see me talking about on this channel going forward. Remember what I said a couple weeks ago, this is going to be Twin Flames 2.0 on this channel. Your twin flame provided the initial thrust. It's up to you to keep the ball rolling. And I highly recommend it, because if you go backwards, you're going to have a bad time. And that should not scare you. It's actually extremely liberating. And guys, this is no contest. And there's no, oh, we got to get there. I got to get there. I have to achieve it. I have to acquire it. That's actually what's holding a lot of us back. So again, the egoic impression, when a lot of people look at me, a spiritual teacher, is that I'm there, so I can stop now, right? The ego likes outcome. I got there. I got to the pinnacle. I'm done. I've accomplished it. I've achieved it. It's over. And I can just go right back to doing what I was doing before. Yeah, not going to happen. That's what the ego thinks. The ego thinks, I'm going to go right back to what I was doing before all this spiritual awakening stuff happened. I'm just going to get this all dealt with, and it's all done now, and then I can go back to what I was doing. Bad idea, guys. Bad idea. You need to keep the ball rolling, okay? And being impeccable is not the goal, guys. Like I said, I have to go back to my spiritual practices all the time, every time something comes up. But the thing is I have such powerful tools to deal with it now. And I go right through those fucking triggers like nobody's business. And the next day, I'm like, wow, I feel light as a feather today. It's worth doing, guys. You should be moving forward on your ascension path on purpose. Do it intentionally. Okay? And don't listen to the ego when it tells you, I don't want to do this. Why me? Why did my soul have to pick on me? Right, like the soul is separate from you. The ego looks at it that way too. This is something that I talk about. I talked about this on my Monday Twin Flame video. Sometimes you'll see the pop culture-y kind of version of spiritualism on the internet. In fact, all the time you see it, because it's the internet. But you'll see people say stuff like, everybody knows that the soul brings us experiences so that we can learn lessons. And to most people reading that don't really understand the true essence of spiritualism, that might sound like reasonable, good quality advice. It's not. And I'm not saying that the person saying those things is bad at all. I think the person is they think they're trying to help, but they're not. They're not helping you, guys. The thing is, the soul is not over there bringing you experiences over here. You're it. You're the soul. So you look at that sentence. Again, like I said Monday, look at that sentence. There's a relationship between a you and the soul in that sentence. Everybody knows the soul brings you experiences. Well, if the soul's over there, what's the you in that sentence? Right? So there's a subject-object relationship. That's the ego, guys. The ego is duality, so it's externalized. It's always going to think about the soul that way. And you can't really think about the soul. The ego is always going to try to hold you back, and it's always going to try to trick you. You just need these basic tools to understand how the ego operates. And when you do, it's kind of like you start to use it against itself, right? You kind of like recondition your mind as a tool to use to Get out of the mind, actually. And they call that mindfulness. Yes, very interesting. Eckhart Tolle talks about this all the time, guys. Being impeccable is not the goal. Are there mistakes? There's no mistakes. Everything that happens in your life happens exactly the way it was meant to. You are the universe. Everything contained in the universe is the universe or God, whatever word you're more comfortable with. Do you really believe God makes mistakes? Didn't think so. Didn't think so. So stop trying to acquire ascension. You cannot acquire ascension. You cannot acquire consciousness. The ego, again, because it is externalized, it's going, I'm here and I have to get there. There's that thing over there called ascension that I must have. And once I have it, I'm good. I'm there, right? Just like when some people maybe look at me and project their fears onto me and they go, oh, he's there so he can stop now. Because the ego likes outcome. And if people find out, some people, most of you, you totally get it. But a couple of stragglers, there's a few scant people that might look at a person like me and say, oh, he's a master, he's a spiritual teacher. If I find out he has bad days, that means he's a charlatan and he's a failure, right? It's not how it works, guys. It's not how it works. And let me tell you something. When you're at this level, this Twin Flames 2.0, you're pushing yourself forward every day, and it's great. You feel light. It's not like hard work. You're just carefully looking at all the different parts of yourself and working with them instead of ignoring them. Why would you be working with them instead of ignoring them? Because you're aware of them. The soul is awareness. You've increased your awareness, increased your consciousness. So now you're able to move forward on purpose every day. And keep that ball rolling, guys. Get back to your practices every day. That's Awakening 2.0. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.